Black Panther, of course, Marvel, superhero, is getting his own movie finally after debuting in the Civil War. And I was really excited for this film because I thought the cast behind it was utterly brilliant. I think Ryan Coogler is a great director. I think Michael B. Jordan is a fantastic
basketball
actor.
player.
Yep.
Love that guy.
And I thought the film was going to be great because the cast was great. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, something you and me joked about for like years.
As soon as Black Panther was in Infinity War?
No, he was in...
Age of Ultron?
No. He was in Civil War. I just said that. Yeah, he was. At least
yeah, that's what I meant. Civil War, not Infinity War. As soon as he was in Civil War, I kept joking that Kendrick Lamar should have played Black Panther.
Then
and
2
then
years
all of a sudden,
later,
we get a Black Panther album.
So this Black Panther, I think they call it Black Panther the album. Music
That's
from
just
inspired by
Black
is
Panther, the
curated
album.
by Kendrick Lamar. Do we even need to give a fucking introduction for who the fuck Kendrick Lamar is?
We talk about him all the time.
If you don't know who Kendrick Lamar is, read a book, or
There are no books on Kendrick Lamar.
write a book about Kendrick Lamar.
Write a book if you need more information. Kendrick was asked to make a couple of tracks for Black Panther, but then he saw like the majority of the film and knew he had to make an album. Basically, the album is it's Top Dog Entertainment. It's got SZA, J Rock, Schoolboy Q, Absol, but it's also got artists like 2 Chainz, Khalid, Sway Lee, Vince Staples, Anderson .Paak, James Blake, Future, Travis Scott, The Weeknd, your mom,
your mom,
my dog. I don't have a dog.
No, I think you mean your dog, like
Snoop.
Dog. Yeah, that definitely.
Snoop's on here. ODB. Tupac.
Ghostface Killer.
Ghostface. The
Biggie
Sugar Hill
Smalls,
Gang. Biggie Cheese is on here. Shaggy.
Amir Van. Kevin Abstract. A Tribe Called Quest. Weezer. Vic Mensa. John Cena.
Brock Lesnar.
Did we mention James Blake?
That's the end.
Car seat headrest.
Basically, it features everybody. It doesn't even feature all the top dog artists like Isaiah Rashad and Sir aren't on here at all. But I guess we can bring in everybody else.
It's probably a good idea that Sir wasn't on here.
I don't understand why he's signed. But
if you would ask me if you put like Sir vocally in a lineup and tell me which one of these rappers
on the 2D.
If like a lineup of like and just had everyone like sing or like rap, I would not be able to tell which one's Sir. I listened to his last album, November. Just remembered it was the first half of Forever is an Alrighty Amount of Time, and it was just a lamer version of that, but it wasn't Southern hip hop inspired.
That wasn't the best part.
It was just boring. But yeah. So yeah, Sir's not an interesting rapper, and it's probably for best he's not on there. But yeah, this project I was not looking forward to going into it because usually movie soundtracks aren't that good unless they're like compilations. And you can say this is a compilation, but it's a lot of original music.
I would honestly say that Guardians soundtracks killed it, but they're both compilations.
They're compilations. Yeah. They're not original contact. And this is originally composed music, and usually when it goes for a hip-hop album, it's not that good because studios have a lot of play, but in this, it's actually surprisingly good. Like, overall, I am really impressed that Top Dog was able to put such a good, like, plethora of artists together. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of fucking bangers on this album. Just to start off with Kendrick Lamar, he basically curated everything on this album. Just to start off with him alone on Black Panther, basically from the perspective of Black Panther, just rapping with production from Soundwave, just his fucking killer flow, just everything. He's just fucking killing it. Like Kendrick Lamar on this album, even though I feel like on the at least on the last like third, I feel like he's consistently killing it. I feel like on the last third, it is a little bit like not that he isn't giving us the same flow, it's that he's giving us the same flow. if that makes sense. It's
It just kind of goes on a little bit long. No, I think that this track is absolutely amazing for a title track, absolutely amazing for an opening track. And I think that there's like a lot of duality in this album I didn't realize until I started to read more about it. And I kind of noticed it when I first listened to it. I almost thought it was kind of the duality between the Black Panther lifestyle and the just kind of normal King T'Challa lifestyle, his alter ego.
Yeah.
But like, there's this duality of this soft kind of piano ballad, and goes straight into this like banger, and then just goes back to the soft piano ballad. It's almost like spoken word on the piano, and then just lets loose, goes crazy on the rest of it. It's quite a start.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed it.
So like, follow that up with All the Stars, which I heard back in, I think it dropped in December, and I wasn't really feeling it. But
it's not the same.
It's a different version.
Yeah.
But I feel like just listening into it now, the more I listen to it, the more I like it. I think it is a good track. I think SZA's performance is really good. I think Kendrick's performance is really good. They have hella chemistry between the two.
Oh yeah.
The production
Get married.
No. Kendrick's already married, isn't he?
I don't know.
But it has production from Soundwave again. Soundwave does the majority of the fucking production on this, and congratulations.
There are other artists,
like,
though.
yeah, there's other artists that like
Bad Bad Not Good's on there,
which is the weirdest fucking thing.
Yeah, Mike
like,
Will's on here.
Good on you, Bad Bad Not Good.
Good job,
good on
fellas.
You. There's a reason I put you behind me, I guess. But yeah, I think this like All the Stars. The worst thing I can say about it is it's a bit too poppy, and that's it. But I don't think it's annoyingly poppy.
It's beautiful, if you ask me. It's just it's a really cool track, really cool. There's a duality again.
Yeah, and I feel like Kendrick, even though I think towards the end they kind of get a little bit tiresome, but his vocals consistently on this project are some of my favorite moments. And I think he does a good job. Going on to that, to X with Schoolboy Q, 2 Chainz, and Saudi. God fucking damn. Like, Kendrick on the fucking hook. He's just holding nothing back. Like, he's like, I think Kendrick kind of saw this as kind of like another stage for him. Like, even a bigger stage, because, like, Black Panther soundtrack is a big fucking deal. And not to say Kendrick hasn't had a stage. Like, he's headlined Coachella. He's won so many fucking Grammys at this point. But it's like a big thing, and he treats it like it is. So like, Kendrick's killing it on the fucking hook. Saudi has really, really interesting performance, speaking in Zulu sometimes. That reminds me a lot of Kendrick's like verse on Untitled 6 with the Zamwa. I don't know what he actually says, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
Yeah.
When was CeeLo the best track on there? Oh, you're so good.
2 Chainz is great. Schoolboy Q is great. And 2 Chainz just delivers just a fucking... His verse is so goddamn funny. I love the verse. Digi-scale, figure nail, went to hell, came back, went to jail, left jail, went to Benihana.
What a twist.
It's just so stupid. He says it so quickly. Like, I can't put enough, like, flow into that. Like, I can't do that bar like justice, but he does like a great job with it. It's just so fast, so stupid, but at the same time like funny, amusing, very, I don't know, I think it's very witty, but at the same time being very idiotic, if that makes sense. It's kind of like that, again, duality.
That's all. I think that's a big theme here.
Yeah. Then you got The Ways with Khalid and Sway Lee of Ray Sherbert. Ray Bobby Shmurda.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. He's not dead. Shmurda, she wrote.
Bobby Shmurda was found dead, ass still in the cell. Free Bobby Shmurda.
It has production from Soundwave and Bad Bad Not Good. Fuck yeah, like
they're great.
Like, that's like a combination I want to see, like, for every track, for every Kendrick track. Khalid gives a really surprisingly strong performance. Like, this is the style of pop I want to see him make. Very strong performance. Sway Lee is okay. He's not bad. He should just be replaced by Kendrick, because Kendrick's vocals that appear on the track are way more interesting and fit Khalid more than Sway Lee does, and that's honestly what I gotta say. I think the production that Soundwave Bad Bad Not Good deliver is utterly fantastic. Moving on to Oops.
Ops.
Oops.
There's 2 P's, 1 O.
It's oops.
It's ops.
It's oops.
Opportunities knocking.
Which is Vince Staples and Eugen Blackrock. I said that right for once. Which is produced by Soundwave and Ludwig Göransson. The guy that basically helps Gambino for everything and it did a lot of the music for Community.
Yeah.
And has been basically Gambino's solo producer, and he's also doing the actual soundtrack, so like the original composition for Black Panther, he's doing that too.
Yeah, he's been working a lot with Gambino and Kendrick to work on the soundtrack.
Yeah,
or he was. I guess it's probably done now.
Yeah, I'm interested to hear that because
I want to hear that. Yeah, I want to hear the actual like music for the movie
because he's a talented producer.
Oh, absolutely.
But like, even on his work on like Community, even though it was like super poppy and like I feel like really immature, I feel like it fit that show really well, if that makes sense. But it was also like stuff I would like to listen to in my free time. I feel like it's just good compositions, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But like, I don't think it has anything will hold the light to what that like the original composition will sound like. But Kendrick just doesn't fit over this beat. He gives a good performance, just doesn't fit.
It was on Ops that I realized something about the album.
What?
It was like, I mean, I really like Ops as a track. I think that Vince Staples and Eugen Blackrock's performances were really cool, and it was a really interesting beat going on.
It's
the only thing is, I think that Kendrick just doesn't fit over electronic music that well, and that's something that he needs to not so much realize, because I doubt that it'll happen again, but I realized that while Kendrick curated the album, and he let the artists have like a lot of creative free reign over what they were producing and what they were creating on the album, he just couldn't let go of the reins completely, because every single track has some Kendrick involvement, whether he's credited or not. He's always on every track, better or for worse.
I think it's a good thing and a bad thing, duality. But I'm just gonna turn that into a meme at this point. But I think on this he shouldn't have been there.
Just let him do. Let him do the thing.
This is like probably the best show of that he shouldn't have been on there. I think Vince. This sounds like a cut off of Big Fish Theory. Like it just straight up sounds like a Big Fish Theory electronica cut. Kendrick again, good performance, very fast paced, but just doesn't fit over electronic music.
You're dead to me. You're dead to me.
Vince Staples, like, fits perfectly over this, it's one of his strongest performances I've ever heard of him. And the line with "a life hit up with lemon lime," we were talking
Vince,
about.
You gotta get off the Sprite, man.
We were talking about this. I think we described it as an everlasting cycle of Vince Staples and Sprite. So Vince
loves
Sprite, gets Sprite sponsorship, has to preach Sprite,
endorse Sprite more, which leads to more sponsorships, which leads to more of Vince drinking Sprite. So he gets just more product, which he loves Sprite and has to write more songs about. And he gets endorsed by Sprite again.
So this ever-going loop of Vince Staples.
Vince, you've got to drink some water. It's not healthy. I'm speaking to you right now. You've got to drink some water.
I'm right here.
Vincent Staples?
Yes. Vincent Short, but I think
Close.
Vince Staples my brother actually now. But Eugen Black, who I've never heard of before, fits perfectly over this. He's not as good as Vince, but I think he does a really good job, and he does better than Kendrick. And I wish it was just Vince Staples and Eugen. I think the hook is weak. The constant "dead to me" is really.
You're dead to me. You're dead to me.
It's really fucking annoying, and Kendrick should never be on electronic music again. And let's just never talk about that he was on this track ever again. Okay, good.
It's still good though.
Good pop up. I Am with Georgia Smith, which is produced by Soundwave and Kendrick. Georgia Smith's performance reminds me of Lauryn Hill, but I could just be crazy, and no one else could probably get that vibe, and I could just be insane. But Kendrick's vocals on the track, his background vocals, his vocals in the second half are good. There's good strings, good guitars on the back, and Kendrick has a great use of like Kendrick's used well that, and even in the sample that's going on in the background. I think that's actually a pretty good track. Paramedic, which I've never heard of this group before, so I'm probably gonna butcher what they are, but they're SOBXRBE, which I think is I have no idea who they are, so I'm assuming it's just son of a bitch. If it's not, then why is it SOB?
I assume so.
But it's this track, Paramedic, produced by Soundwave, Coup Beats, and DJ Dai. So it's Kendrick and this group, and Da Boy and Young T.O. at the end are basically, they bring a lot of intensity, which is needed, but like Luigi and Slimmy B, who are also part of this group, who start off the track, give like such a lackluster performance that Kendrick has to like carry them, and that's all I can really say. I don't think
it's kind of weird.
I think just the opening part, this is the weakest track, I would say, one of the weakest tracks on here, and I just don't think it was needed. I don't really care for this group, whoever they are. It was nice that Kendrick gave a young group a chance. You shouldn't give Brockhampton a chance. Not really in our group to give a chance, but
there's
like
too many.
It's too many. But like any fucking group would probably be better than this. And not to say that Da Boy and Young T.O. weren't good. I think they actually had some good bars, but Luigi and Slimmy B were just not good on this track. Going on to Bloody Waters, by Absol, featuring James Blake and Anderson .Paak. I hope this is actually an Absol track that we actually get on an Absol album either this year.
I really like this one actually.
It's produced by Kendrick Lamar and Soundwave. Absol is incredible. Like, this is like, where's this Absol been? Like, on your last record.
Come back, please.
Like, I didn't get this on your last record. James Blake, his vocal performance, utterly fucking breathtaking.
I love James Blake.
And then Anderson .Paak has a traditional Anderson .Paak thing. Like, it's not bad, like Anderson .Paak, but it's,
he's just doing what he does.
He just does what Anderson .Paak's been doing his entire career at this point. And the transition to King's Dead, like at the end, is just utterly fucking breathtaking. Just that beautiful transition. Like, the only reason I don't see like this would be a single from Absol in the future is because of that transition, but you can cut that out and rework it. But like, I hope this is on Anderson .Paak. I hope this is on Absol's next record. Going on to King's Dead, pound for pound, one of my favorite tracks this year.
Me too.
The more I listen to it, the more I like it. Just this track has so much working for it. J-Rock, very hungry on the track, just holding nothing back. Like J-Rock on...
Did you call him J-Rock?
J-Rock, I probably did.
J-Rock.
J-Rock. J-Rock on his last album, was it 90059, was just lackluster at times. This, he's very...
There's some good stuff, don't get me wrong.
Big money, big booty bitches, man. That shit gonna be the death of me. But on this, he's very hungry. He's holding nothing back.
He reminds me of a young Jay-Z quite a bit.
Yeah, he has a nice intensity. You like that little bitch? Yo, you like that little bitch?
I gotta go get it.
He's really fast-paced, really fun, really exciting.
Very punchy.
Kendrick on the hook, great. Future is awake. Like they like gave him like an energy drink or something.
This is Future's best work to date. This single verse is his best work. You're not wrong. I'm not. No, that's the sad part. Like, Mask Off is... I love Mask Off for what it is.
He's not awake on it.
But he's not. He's sleepwalking, and he walked into the studio and the mics were on.
Percocet. But on this,
it's awful.
He's fucking awake. He gives a very colorful and fun performance. I think Future's honestly hyper. Like, they gave him 2 energy drinks. And his he's just like...
His heart is beating more than 4 beats per minute. And he...
He's just like, Kendrick's just like, yeah, go on. He's like, Future's like, I think I could do this. I think I could freestyle. And Kendrick's like, okay, go ahead, do it. He's like, la-di-da-di-da, slob. And then Kendrick...
okay. And it works. It's really fun.
Yeah, it's his high-pitched vocals on the end of his verse. best fucking musical moment of
It's
this year.
so funny.
It's so funny, and
I didn't expect it at all.
James Blake. That transitions with James Blake, who gives 2 seconds of appearance, but it adds a nice transition.
I honestly
to
think that James
Kendrick's-
Blake probably worked on some production too.
Yeah,
for this.
but like James Blake's like transition actually is needed because Kendrick on the second half is delivering us like just Kendrick, like
super aggressive. It's and to tie into the lore, like this is something that the album does really well, and I didn't mention. I'll go back to it in a second. But this whole verse is like super aggressive from the perspective of Eric Killmonger, like his rival. Especially when it goes like, "Oh hail King Killmonger!" That's so. It's all about his drive to work. He's hitting all the different stoplights. He's mad about it. It's just super fast paced, in your face, super like aggressive track. But back to the lore thing and all of the stars. I didn't realize this until I read it. I hate to go back, but the duality of that too, reaching for the stars, but also diving deep into the lore. Like Black Panther is able to talk like through the stars to the ancestors of like older Black Panthers, like that used to be in his position, and now he's taken on that role. He's able to like talk to them through the stars. I think like Kendrick really put a lot of thought and time into researching the source material for this album. It's just really great that he would take the time to do that.
Do you think Kendrick's a comic book nerd?
I think he might be.
I know, I think he is because he likes Power Rangers. You have to be a nerd to like Power Rangers.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
But yeah, King's Dead.
This is
brilliant. Just
one of my
brilliant.
favorite tracks
Just
of the
like,
years.
I'm not gonna be able to stop saying that because it's just
It's
so
so
stupid.
funny.
Like again, they got Future like an energy. They got like they gave him a good night's sleep, and
He's
then
living.
he woke up.
His heart is beating.
It's not.
He opened his eyes.
Maybe they're just like they stopped him from drinking lean. Like he was gonna drink lean in the studio.
He
and
says,
Kendrick's
"Pass me the syrup,and they're just like, no."
like he was gonna take a sip. Kendrick just knocked it out of his fucking hand. He's like, no. And then moving on to Redemption Interlude and Redemption, both by I like to say Zachary is not. It's not. I like just call him Zachary because I think it's funny.
It's a normal name.
You were saying Zachary, but I like calling him Zachary because I think it's funny. And the actual Redemption has Babes,
Woodomo.
Woodomo. I know how to say the second part. I was just confused if it was actually Babes because that just sounds weird. Like, hey, babes. But both these tracks, Zachary, I'm going to continue calling him that, sounds like The Weeknd. But if The Weeknd was even more asleep, because he had a long weekend.
Wake up.
But Zachary on the first part was just not good. I just didn't care for it. And then Redemption, the actual Redemption, Babes is good. Like she steals the spotlight. She shouldn't be forced to share the spotlight with a boring weekend. And on this track, I think this is where I started getting annoyed by Kendrick's vocals. I think Kendrick's vocals on this track are very unpleasant, and it's kind of too much of the same. He keeps on giving us this one style, which is good over like a course of the album when you don't constantly have to do it. But like he's giving it to us so much at this point that I just don't really care for it. Did you like these? Because like I didn't.
The Redemptions.
Yeah.
Not my favorite. I think there are always at least some sort of interesting production.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's kind of interesting production wise. I think the interlude was a little interesting, and then I think that Babes Wodumo was also good.
Yeah.
But I think you had points like she shouldn't have to share the spotlight.
That was the second track where I think Kendrick shouldn't have had an appearance. Moving on to Seasons with Mozzie, Java, and Reason. Everyone is incredible. Kendrick just picks a perfect cast that just blends together. And
Yeah.
I don't think I can say much more than that. Mozzie, it's Java. That's at the beginning, right?
Yeah, he's speaking all in Zulu.
Which I think is incredible. And yeah, everyone just blends together. This is what the Black Panther soundtrack should have been, just because everyone just blends perfectly. Yeah, Soundwave, Frank Dukes, and Kendrick on production. Can't go wrong with that. I think this is like one of the better tracks. I don't have much to say about it because there isn't anything like stranger out there. And everyone just delivers a really, really good and a passionate performance. And I think everyone that he picked for this was great. Now this is where we're gonna differ on opinions. Track "Big Shot" with Kendrick Lamar and Travis Scott. Leave flutes in 2017 with Mask Off. Just no more flutes, cause
Flutes.
no more flutes, cause I'm done with this shit. Like Broccoli was okay with the piccolo, the electronic piccolo, or what it was. And then Mask Off with the flute was good, but like, well, actually, Future was not good. The beat was good, and then this is just. Phone the fuck in. It's just
Okay, I liked Big Shot. I didn't think I would, given Travis Scott's track record this year.
You mean like
Honcho Jack and Culture 2?
you mean track record? Do you mean like getting like starting a race and then immediately falling on your face and then tumbling, getting back up, and then doing a feature on someone's album and then falling on your face again?
Yes.
Or even on a worse album.
Yeah.
And do you mean getting up and probably releasing whatever he's calling it, whatever
Astral
World, and then falling on your face because you can't deliver a good album?
I'm seriously worried about the state of Astro World
because I feel like he's gonna rush it.
I don't want him to.
I don't like. No one wants him to, but he is, because that's how hip hop is for a lot of these artists nowadays. You have to rush your shit. But, Migos rushes everything.
They had every track done in 45 minutes.
Seconds, yeah.
But no, I actually really enjoyed Big Shot. I thought that Kendrick's vocals were cool. I like when Kendrick gets into his higher range because I think he's got more power up there. He's got like kind of a high pitched voice. He should use that when singing too. And so I don't know. I enjoyed that lyricism that it has. I guess
I think
just the melodic nature of it.
I think the hook is lackluster. The beat is lackluster with all the dumb flutes. But Kendrick on his verses, they're fine. They're fine, but this is where we're like 40 something minutes in the album, and I'm just like, I've kind of heard this Kendrick already to death. Travis Scott delivers the most Travis Scott performance I've heard all year.
That's all year, I guess.
But delivered the most Travis Scott performance. Just a very typical Travis Scott. Just like nothing too flashy, kind of autotune vocals, very just safe, I would say. Nothing too extraordinary about it. But hashtag stop Travis Scott 2K18.
You take that back.
And also stop the Migos.
Stop the Migos.
And stop Eminem from headlighting your tours. Or headlighting your festivals. That's what it was. And moving on to probably, I don't know, this may be my least favorite track.
This is definitely my least favorite.
Pray For Me with Weeknd and Kendrick. Kendrick, good flow, good narrative building. Weeknd delivers the same performance that he always does.
It's just edgy, and it doesn't need to be edgy.
And
it's the chorus from Not Afraid but stretched out. I'm serious.
Yeah, but like I one thing about the hook, the background choir, I think is pretty good, and should have more of that. Maybe you shouldn't have Weeknd.
No, I think this was a pretty weak
ending.
Weak ending. I'm serious. Like,
no,
that was that was big fat joke, but also it was a very weak
not
ending.
Good ending.
Now, if they would have done a Black Panther like opening track revisited a little bit,
where he's like green light, red light, green light,
it would have been a lot stronger if he rapped from the viewpoint of T'Challa again,
but like
in Black Panther style.
Part of me wants to think how long Kendrick actually had to make this.
I honestly don't know, because the film would have almost had to have been done by the time he watched it and then decided, I'm not going to make a couple of tracks anymore. I'm going to make an entire album and get everybody together on it. But then again, King's Dead and All the Stars have been out for a little while now.
Yeah. So, like, I think it's... Even if he did rush this, this is, like, fucking fantastic to be rushed.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
King's Dead, Bloody Waters, the King's Dead, Bloody Waters, X, Black Panther, even Oops. But like there's some disappointing stuff, but like I went into this with like no expectations, and coming out with like an actually good record is surprising. Yeah, I think my biggest complaints sometimes I just feel like the people he has on the track, such as Weekend or Travis Scott or Sway Lee, just shouldn't be there. And I think this thing is 15 minutes long. Should have been like 30, maybe 40. Didn't need to be 15 minutes long. I think even if you had just like the best tracks, such as All the Stars, Black Panther, King's Dead, Bloody Water, I think that would have just been a like, perfect, just like compilation of just various artists and various sounds. Kendrick's on too many tracks. I think there's fatigue on the last third because you just heard so much Kendrick at that point and so much of the same Kendrick, same vocal style of Kendrick, same flow of Kendrick, because Kendrick's really holding nothing back. We don't get very much variation of Kendrick flows. It's always hard, very punchy. We don't get very much like introspective or very I would say chilled down Kendrick. It's always super punchy or it's super very melodic vocals.
Yeah.
But even then, I think a lot of the production on this is incredible. Kendrick and Soundwave do a fantastic job. Some of the performances on this, like Vince Staples, even though Ops is not one of my favorite tracks because of Kendrick, Vince Staples delivers like one of his best performances. Schoolboy Q delivers a fucking fantastic performance. It's 2 Chainz. Just like everyone that's on this project at least tries their hardest, and sometimes it feels like it doesn't. Weekend, Travis Scott, Sway Lee, but I think together as a compilation of various artists and something in a soundtrack that could have been something terrible, it actually comes out really good. And overall, I think this is a 7.1 out of 10. I enjoyed this. Like King's Dead, Bloody Waters are like 2 utterly amazing tracks, and I hope J Rock actually has King's Dead on his next album. I hope Bloody Waters is on Absol's next record. Even like All the Stars, I hope that shows up on like SZA's next record or something like that. Like I hope the material they use this album for is actually like put in like future albums.
I'd be cool. Completely fine if it was just this entity that exists
But
within itself.
yeah, but like,
but I hope that they take what they learned from this and create new tracks that are similar to this.
Yeah, like future. Just keep on being awake.
Stay awake.
So your final thoughts?
I'm gonna have to give it probably a 7.75 because I actually really enjoyed it. Personally, I liked the Travis Scott, Kendrick, Big Shot cut.
Big Sean?
Yeah, Big Sean. I actually didn't mind Paramedic myself. And then Redemption. I still don't care for Redemption. There are a couple of moments that I'm still not overly fond of. Like the De La Soul feature. But like you said, I think everybody like tries their hardest. I think my opinion of the album might grow a little bit as I watch the film, because in all honesty it hasn't come out yet, so I'm imagining a film.
Okay, so yeah,
I'm imagining a film happening as I'm listening to the album, because I think there's a lot of like comparisons. Obviously he's playing the characters of T'Challa, he's playing Eric Killmonger. There are connections to the lore, there are connections to you can tell like what are action scenes and what are love scenes and what are reflective scenes. But in all honesty, the movie isn't out yet, so I can't exactly compare it because I don't know what's going on. So I think once I actually see the film, I might have a better grasp and my score might change a little bit. But in the context of the album in itself, there's some really, really strong moments, some kind of weak moments. But overall, it was an enjoyable listen, pound for pound. Especially with tracks like King's Dead, Bloody Waters, All the Stars.
Yeah, so the film isn't out when we actually are doing this review. It's like the Monday before it's set to release. But how much you want to bet there's going to be a scene, like this very intense chase scene, and all of a sudden you hear, la-di-da-di-da.
No, I wish. The only tracks, I know for a fact, the only tracks that are being used are All the Stars, Ops, actually, and Pray For Me. So kind of a grab bag.
King's Dead needs to be
I don't know where they'd fit it in, but I'm
every scene.
You know, for the whole movie. But it's just Future's face.
Just literally like two people be talking, and all you hear is la-di-da-di-da.
I just got news that Michael B. Jordan was replaced by Future for his role of Eric Killmonger.
That'd be terrible. He'd be asleep on set constantly. He'd just be on lean the entire time.
But that's what I've got to give it for now. I think it's a really cool concept album. I think Marvel took a huge risk. I can obviously tell this is a huge passion project for a lot of these artists.
I don't think there's a risk. Betting on Kendrick, who's like one of the most...
But this is Marvel putting all their chips on an album that, I mean, in all honesty, it has that parental advisory sticker on it. It has, at the risk of sounding like a dad, it's got dirty lyrics on it. You know, it's explicit, it's raw, it's obviously a huge passion project for a lot of these guys, and I think that Marvel took like a huge risk in having Kendrick curate an entire album when he was only scheduled to have like a couple tracks. You know, that's a big risk, and a studio that, judging by its track record of movies in the past couple of years, doesn't like to take big risks a lot. And when they do, it's with like smaller characters. Black Panther is not an Iron Man. He's not a Captain America. So it makes sense that they would do something like this. But also, I think that's a big risk for a company like Marvel. And I'm glad they took it, though, because it ended up being like a really cool project.
Okay, so I recommend you listen to this.
Yeah, give it a chance.
Even if you're not going to see Black Panther as a film, just listen to King's Dead, because it's fucking amazing.
It's great.